It weighed more than 70 tons. Its shell could demolish a house with a single shot. And when it appeared on the streets of Warsaw, even battle-hardened soldiers froze in fear. The Sturmtiger, a machine that still divides historians. Some call it a masterpiece of engineering. Others, a symbol of Germany's madness when, near the end of the war, it tried to win not with strategy, but with steel monsters. Why did Hitler personally oversee every stage of its creation? Why were working Tiger tanks dismantled to build it, even as the front collapsed? And most importantly, why waste the nation's last resources on a weapon that could destroy an entire block, but was almost useless in battle? This tank fired rocket-propelled shells that created shockwaves strong enough to tear armor apart from the inside. The crew sat in a steel box where one wrong move could mean instant death. By the end of this video, you'll learn how the strangest, most absurd, and most dangerous machine of World War II was born, and how it died. Urban warfare was always the cruelest form of combat, where streets turned into mazes and every house became a fortress. Ordinary tanks were helpless. When the German army faced this kind of war, their trusted machines suddenly became useless. Their armor couldn't stop grenades from the windows, and their guns couldn't breach stone walls. Streets, alleys, basements, everything became a trap. After Stalingrad, German command understood: you don't fight a city, you erase it. So the idea was born, a vehicle that doesn't storm, but obliterates. Not with precise shots or artillery fire, but with a single strike that turns an entire block into dust. To do that, they needed a monster, heavy enough to survive anything, powerful enough to destroy everything. And so began the story of the Sturmtiger, a monstrous descendant of the legendary Tiger, built not to fight tanks, but to annihilate the very streets they drove on. The problem became obvious in Stalingrad, a nightmare of concrete and steel. German blitzkrieg tactics failed there. Tanks got trapped in ruins, soldiers were isolated, and every strong point became a fortress. The Pavlov's house episode became a symbol of the Germans' frustration, a single building that resisted weeks of assault. Artillery couldn't destroy it, and every attack ended in blood. Germany needed something that could erase such a target from existence. Early attempts, like the Sturminfanteriegeschütz 33B or the Brummbär, were powerful, but not enough. Their 15-centimeter guns could damage buildings, but not level them. The Germans wanted something far stronger, a gun that wouldn't just break walls, but blow entire structures apart. That's when engineers turned to an unusual weapon, a naval anti-submarine rocket launcher, the Raketenwerfer 61. It fired massive depth charges nearly 40 centimeters wide. At sea, it was overkill. In a city, it was perfect. Hitler loved the idea. He adored anything colossal: tanks, artillery, machines that inspired fear just by their presence. The challenge was finding a platform strong enough to carry it. The obvious choice was the Tiger I, one of the most powerful tanks ever built.
Its armor, suspension, and engine could handle the load. And so the idea took shape: mount a naval rocket launcher on a Tiger chassis. But reality was harsher. By 1943, Germany was already losing ground. Every Tiger counted. Factories were bombed, resources were low, and fuel was scarce. So instead of building new hulls, engineers salvaged damaged Tigers and converted them.
In August 1943, the prototype was shown to Hitler. He was ecstatic. The machine embodied everything he admired: massive, brutal, terrifying. Production started in February 1944, far too late to change the war. The Sturmtiger looked like nothing else. Its turret was removed, replaced by a fixed castmate with a huge launch tube. The armor was 150 millimeters thick at the front, sloped for extra protection, effectively over 200 millimeters. The total weight rose to 70 tons, 10 more than the original Tiger. The same Maybach HL-230 engine stayed, 700 horsepower, barely enough. Off-road it was painfully slow, but in the city that didn't matter. It wasn't built to chase, it was built to destroy. Inside, a small crane was installed to load the enormous 350-kilogram shells. Each was 1.5 meters long, and only 12 could fit inside. When the Sturmtiger fired, it was an event. Smoke and fire erupted. The blast could deafen nearby soldiers, and the shock wave alone could kill. Engineers had to drill vents around the barrel to keep the gun from exploding itself. Official range, 5.5 kilometers. In reality, only a few hundred meters. It wasn't for long-range fire. It was for obliteration. Only 18 units were ever built, each one a masterpiece of madness. Its debut came in August 1944, during the Warsaw Uprising. Urban combat, barricades, fortified houses, the perfect test. When the first shell landed in the old town, Polish fighters thought it was an underground explosion. Entire buildings vanished in a cloud of dust and debris. The effect was horrifying, physically and psychologically. But even monsters have limits. The shells required separate trucks. Bridges needed reinforcement to hold its weight. If it broke down, it stayed where it was. Still, Hitler was pleased and ordered more. But by then, it was too late. By late 1944, Germany was collapsing. No oil, no factories, no skilled workers. Only about a dozen Sturmtigers were finished. They were sent wherever the front was crumbling, sometimes as heavy artillery, sometimes as pure terror weapons. 1945. Germany was falling apart. The Allies were at the Rhine, and the skies belonged to bombers. Each Sturmtiger was sent to the front like a relic of hope. But war had changed. Speed now mattered more than firepower. During the Battle of the Bulge, the Sturmtiger proved almost useless. Too slow, too heavy, constantly stuck in snow or breaking bridges. One had to be blown up by its own crew. Yes, its firepower was terrifying. One shell could erase a building. But loading it took minutes. By then, the enemy had already called in artillery. Some were later sent to the Ruhr, where they fought among factory ruins, their natural habitat. One crew ambushed American tanks near Dortmund. destroyed 2 Shermans in one shot. The explosion created a crater. The blast lifted dust above rooftops. Americans thought it was an airstrike. An hour later, the Sturmtiger ran out of fuel and ammunition. The crew abandoned it and fled. Another fought near Remagen, trying to destroy the bridge across the Rhine. It fired a few shells, causing landslides, but was destroyed shortly after. The last machines were scattered, some sent east toward Berlin. By spring 1945, they stood like monuments among the ruins, massive, silent, almost symbolic. No ammo, no fuel, no purpose. Just the ghosts of an empire that refused to die. Allied and Soviet engineers examined them in disbelief. The Sturmtiger was both brilliant and insane, indestructible yet pointless. After the war, only a few survived. One stands in Kubinka, another in Munster. Restored, silent, displayed behind glass, relics of a time when engineering tried to outdo reason. Walk up close and you see every weld, every rivet, armor thick as your hand, and that monstrous muzzle, like the mouth of something that once devoured cities. It was built to destroy, but became a monument to the end of destruction. A machine born from the illusion of absolute power, ending as a museum piece. If you listen closely, you can almost hear it, the echo of an era when humans believed they could control the monsters they created.